Ken, look at the card I made.
That's really cool. It's adorable.
Make an envelope for it.
We don't have any envelope maker that'll make something this size. It's like as big as my head.
If there was only a tool. Hi, and welcome to Crafts by Two. I'm George.
And I'm Ken.
And today we're reviewing the We Are Memory Keeper Template Studio. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's great. We Are Memory Keepers was very generous, and they sent us a set to preview.
I'm excited. It was fun to play with. So we had opened this a little bit earlier this week and played around with it. We made a bunch of stuff, and we will have videos for the next couple of days showing you the different things that we made and how easy it was to do and how pretty incredible the things are that you can make with this.
So what you can make with it, with the basic set,
The starter set.
is you can make envelopes,
An envelope,
a box,
a box envelope,
and a bag.
and a bag. And you think, you can make a bag. That's kind of cute. Oh my God, it's incredible. Wait till you see.
And you can also buy additional guide sets to use with the base set. That way you can do additional projects. There's a flower guide,
Which should be incredible.
a pillow box guide,
Which would be fun to give like clothing gifts in. You can make a pillow box big enough to put a t-shirt or something in, or a couple t-shirts.
a circle guide, the file folder guide, which I think is actually kind of cool. People are like, why would I want to make my own file folders? But you can make your own file folders. If there's a paper you really like, I think it's cool.
Yep.
Star guide, so you can kind of make three-dimensional stars. And a candy box. So it's a box, but it kind of looks like a wrapped piece of candy.
Again, gifts.
Yep.
Easy to make. And you can make them huge. So let's show you what comes in. Comes in the starter set. So we got 2 instruction guides. We're not positive if they come with 2 instruction guides or if a second one was kind of an oops that we got it, but we loved having 2 of them because there's 2 of us. You get a score tool and a cut tool.
Then you get your basic guides, an A, B, and C of different lengths, and these notch together. And together they can be used for cutting and sizing your pieces, making sure you have the starting size of your paper right. And then they work together with the other guides. So there's a gift bag guide, and then the envelope and box guide. So when you're working, these go together, and this is how you do your scoring and cutting.
Kind of like an erector set.
A little.
And then you get your mat, which folds up. Whoops. I have it upside down. Folds up nice and neat and unfolds to lay really, really flat.
Yep. It really does fit together really well and lays flat while you're working. And it has all the measurements and the notches to work with the tools, because you notch them right in and they lock in place while you're doing your cutting.
So the first thing we're going to show you is how to make a giant envelope. So now you can start making giant birthday cards for people.
Or not even that giant. The regular envelope punchboard, you can make like 8.5 inches
Yeah.
with 12 by 12 paper. Now you can go up to like 22 by 22, or I believe it's 22 by 22 for the max size for the envelopes. But you can make super huge cards.
I don't know if you can mail super huge cards. Check with your post office before you try. But you can make them, and they're so easy. So Ken's going to show you how to make an envelope.
Here we are on our dining room table. We wanted to be able to get a good angle, so that's why we're here. This does fit on our regular crafting table, but like I said, we want it to be able to give you a good angle so you can see everything while we're doing it. I'm going to do one of the larger envelopes, the 10 by 16 insert size, and that's going to need a 22 by 22 paper size. So I've gone to the envelope section in the instructions, and the first page has the table. And I was kind of wondering why they gave you 2 copies of the booklet, and it actually is really helpful because you can keep one book on the measurements and have that nearby for reference, and then go through the instructions without having to constantly flip back and forth to double check the measurements or the alignment settings that you're going to need while you're going through the instructions. So I'm doing the 10 by 16, and that requires a 22 by 22 piece of paper. So for this, you will use the A piece and the B piece, and these are in the plastic at the ends to cut vertically, because this poster board is 22 inches tall by about 20 inches long. So I just need to cut this down. And one tip is the poster board from We Are Memory Keepers is great, that it is perfectly cut. Every square is, or every side is straight and square, but don't assume that with the poster board. We picked up some poster board from the dollar store just to try things out, and not every side is straight. So you kind of want to just look at the edges and just make sure everything's straight before you go cutting things off. You might have to cut a little bit off one edge just to make sure you're working with a straight edge. And that messed up one of our prior attempts, so I just wanted to point that out as a tip. So I don't have to cut horizontally, so I won't be using this C piece because I would attach that with the B and C to cut horizontally. I'm just cutting vertically. When you're looking at the ends of the piece, there's an arrow on both ends, and you either want to make sure that the arrow is in the measurement on the outside if you're cutting vertically, or that it's on top if you're cutting horizontally. So in this case, I need to cut it to 22 inches. So I'm lining these up and putting the arrows into the 22-inch slot. And there's pegs for in between at 21.5 and at 21. So I'm just pushing those in to make sure that they're set. And one thing you've got to get used to with the Template Studio is with all the punch boards, you have a really nice flat edge that you can push the paper up against. But with this, you don't. So you really want to be consistent with how you're placing your paper. What I've chosen to do is make sure on the edges I can see all of the line. There's a darker kind of teal line around the edge. So I just make sure that I'm above and just at the edge of that line on the 2 sides. And then I'm good. And that's especially important when you start cutting your notches. The notches pretty much go right to the blue line, so if you're over that blue line, you're not going to cut through the paper when you're making your notches. So it's really important to pay attention to your measurements and double check. I was a little spacey. As you can hear, I've got a little bit of a cold, and I wasn't paying attention, and I messed up thinking I was in one of the right slots and I wasn't, and that messed up one of the projects. So just take a moment and double check that you've got everything aligned and that you're in the proper measurements before you cut our score. So the gray is the cutting blade, and it has a notch on one side, kind of just a peg to help hold it in, and then the blade on the other. And this handle rotates around, so with some of the other pieces you're actually cutting curves and such, and it rotates pretty easily. So you just line this up, and you can feel that I'm against the edge of the guide. And when you're doing these guides, especially these longer straight ones, it's important that you push down while you're doing it. If you're pushing and not just pushing straight down, you may be pushing on the guide, and this will bend and flex a little, which can result in a curved edge. So you want to make sure that you're pushing evenly and down, and you can kind of use your finger to help brace the guide a little. But the blade is really sharp for now with us, with the new studio. I don't know how long that will last, but it seems to cut through this poster board really easily, so it's not like I have to really force things down. I can just kind of slide it evenly. And that cut right through it, and I didn't have to apply a whole lot of pressure. So we're done with this guide. So going back to the instructions, we connect the envelope and box guide, and this again is in the plastic here. You can't really see it on the video, but it's in the plastic to let me know which part, and then the C guide. And this is A and B, which I don't need, and this is C. So these have metal parts that go in, and then kind of a little lip to help you make sure that it's in straight. And then going on to step 5, you're diagonally aligning the arrow of the C guide. So again, this has an arrow on the tip of the guide, and that goes into 4.5. And then down here, the arrow of the envelope guide goes into 17.5. And there's extra pegs to make sure that this sits nice and secure. And this moved a little bit, but step 6, I need to align the lower left corner to the paper alignment measurement. And this is on the table, so I'm going back to the table, and for the 10 by 16, the paper alignment is at 3 inches. So I just slide this paper over to the 3-inch mark. Make sure my paper is inside the teal line on both sides. And like I said, here I'm going to be cutting that notch, so it's important that I'm above that teal line to make sure that the notch gets cut through entirely. And then you cut along the notch, and this is one of those curved pieces, so just kind of make sure you're all the way to the left on my view, right on your view, to have this set up, and then I just slide it through the curve, and the notch comes right out. Now you take the score tool and you score along the top edge. So just make sure you've got your guide inside the notch, and then just push it along. And again, giving a good downward pressure so you're not flexing or bending the guide while you're doing it. And now you just repeat this, rotating it 90 degrees. And you align the score line with the guide. So just make sure I'm within my teal line, and here the score line is lining up on the guide right here. They give a nice white line to help make it clear. So this is very similar to the regular envelope punch board. After the first punch, you're just lining up these score guides. So I cut out the notch, and then score. And even though the other punch board let you get up to just below a 12 by 12 paper size, what always frustrated me was the score lines would be going off the edge of the board, so you couldn't score the entire edge. So you had to grab another scoreboard and try to line things up. This, because you're working with such a large area with a template studio, you can score rather large areas. So you don't have it where that it doesn't reach entirely. Whoops. So this, even though I was trying, I did flex it a little. The edge is a little bit curved for this edge when I cut to 22 inches. So what I normally try to do is stand up and make sure I'm pushing down instead of pushing over, because I did curve a little, but I didn't do that this time with the video. So in this case, what I'm doing is favoring the alignment here with the score line, and then just making sure that I'm getting to the notch I cut over here. So I've done all four sides, and now I can just fold up the envelope. And in the instructions, they do show the bonus, how you can do kind of more of a box envelope by scoring along the sides of the diagonal edge during step 7. So you would score on the top edge and then also score on the bottom edge, and that will let you have more of a box envelope, which could be helpful for some projects. So I think I'm going to fold this the long way. So I'm just scoring the edges a little bit more. Because this is poster board and not paper, it's a little stiffer. Then I can take a glue gun, or tape glider, this one I could have scored just a little bit better. Like I said, being poster board, it's a little bit stiff. So now I have a like 16 and a half, like 16 3/4 by 11.5 envelope. So that will hold a 10 by 16 item. So now you can make envelopes for larger projects. So these could be great for kind of office cards or group cards where you want to give lots of area for people to sign. I know a lot of people don't necessarily take advantage of the ability to cut at 12 by 24 on their Cricut just because they can't make envelopes or things to hold projects that big. Now they can.
It was easy. And here's some envelopes we made. This is the first envelope I made. Okay, Ken made it, but I watched.
And this is the envelope I made in the demo. So it's super huge. And so here's the poo that was as big as my head. And we could easily make an envelope for this now. So we can make super big cards to give at parties.
Yep. You can also make boxes that seal themselves.
And this was one of the largest boxes you can make.
So that's a great size box. Christmas time, never paying for a box again.
Yeah, you can buy poster board and make it yourself.
And we got poster board from the dollar store, 2 for $1. 2 of the big sheets of poster board for $1.
And this is the largest bag you can make. And at this size, you actually use 2 pieces of paper. So I used some of the neon yellow and the neon green. And one little tip we'll give in our video when we show making a bag is I used some of the scraps, just taped it down really quickly to reinforce it. So I can put something pretty heavy in here and it'll carry it. And it's not going to rip through the paper.
So you can make your own bags, decorate them any way you want to. You don't have to pay $10 for a big bag like this. At the most, you have to pay $1 plus tax from the dollar store to get 2 pieces of poster board. So We Are Memory Keepers also sent us some of the new premium poster board. Look at the gold shimmer. It's gold glitter poster board.
Mm-hmm. And it's a really fine kind of glitter. So it doesn't have that feeling like if you're going to cut it that it's just going to explode everywhere like some of it.
I call this freshly fallen snow because it looks like snow.
And this is the same as regular poster board. It's 22 inches by 26 inches.
Ooh, look at it shimmer and shine. This is going to cut nice. I think when we do some of the other projects, let's use some of this. They also have design poster board like glitter circles, polka dots on paper. There's stripes in metallic colors. It's incredible stuff that we saw at CHA. I'm going to love this. I want to know where they're selling it, and they better keep a lot in stock because I'm going to like this stuff a lot.
So I think one benefit of having the envelope size is that you can do much larger. Is a lot of people don't take advantage of their Cricut Explorer being able to do 12 by 24 cuts because they can't really use them for anything other than like maybe wall decorations. So this allows you to make kind of gifts and maybe a card for around the office.
We could make a 20-inch shaped card.
Yeah.
Watch for that in an upcoming episode.
And all you people making box cards who always have to fold it up, and the envelope board doesn't make anything big enough to hold your folded out box cards that are flat. Now, with the Template Studio, you can definitely make an envelope that will fit any size box card.
You could even make a boxed envelope, which is about this thick, but it's still the envelope shape. So you could make a really thick box card to stick in that.
Yep.
Again, check with your post office to see how much it would cost and if it's shippable.
So for a lot of these projects, you're going to want to stick to poster board or cardstock just because they need that structure, especially when you're doing those larger sizes. You really couldn't do a box out of regular paper.
Well, you could, but I wouldn't want to put anything in the box.
Yeah.
Remember, we'd love to hear from you. So if you're on YouTube, comment below, or if you're on our website, you can comment there too.
But don't forget, you can check out Crafts by 2 pretty much all over the internet. We have our own website at craftsby2.com. We're on Pinterest, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter.
Hey, we're on lots of stuff. We're on the internets.
So you can find those links in the description down below.
And sometimes we share things like on Instagram that we don't put on our webpage or on Facebook. So you should subscribe if you want to see like behind the scenes stuff. So we really like the template studio. I think it's a must-have for any crafter who likes to make bigger things or heck, just wants to make bags.
Yeah, there's a lot of convenience. It's big, but it's easy to use and very easy to pick up and put away.
Yep.
And the box is great for storage. It's not huge. It's not going to take up a lot of space in your craft room when you're not using it.
It also comes out in May, so look for it at a store near you or online.
Once it's available for sale, we'll put an affiliate link in the description down below. Buying through that link will help support Crafts by 2. So look for our other videos. We'll just have some quick videos showing us making a box and a bag.
I can't wait to make a bag.
We'll have a link to that playlist in the description down below too. So make sure you're reading that description. There's a ton there.
So until next week, when we have it in the bag, get it?
Yeah.
We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye. So your purchase through that link will have... Reading that description, there's a ton there.
Are you calling me fat?
No, there's a ton down there. Not there.